My child, be still for a moment and listen carefully to me. Do not scroll away from these words too quickly, because this message is not reaching you by accident. There is something I need you to hear before the next chapter of your life begins. You have spent so much time grieving over doors that never opened. You cried over opportunities that disappeared. You questioned yourself when people walked away. You wondered why certain prayers seemed to go unanswered no matter how many nights you whispered them through tears. There were moments when you thought I had become silent. Moments when you believed heaven had forgotten your name. But my child, listen to me now. What if the very doors you begged me to open were the same doors that would have wounded your spirit? What if the delays that frustrated you were actually protecting your future? What if I was not rejecting you, but rescuing you from paths that could never carry the purpose I placed inside you? I saw every tear you tried to hide. I heard every question you asked in the quiet darkness. I watched you keep going even when your heart felt exhausted from waiting. And through it all, I was working in ways you could not yet understand. Even now, while you are wondering whether anything is changing, heaven is already moving on your behalf. Pieces are being aligned. Things you cannot see are being prepared. What seemed like disappointment was only the closing of a chapter that could not follow you into your new season. And my beloved, what I am about to do next will make you understand why I said no to everything before. My child, there were seasons when you believed the closed doors in your life meant you were unworthy. You looked at the silence, the rejection, and the waiting, and you wondered if you had somehow failed. You questioned whether you had missed your moment. You watched others move forward while you remained standing in the same place, praying for answers that seemed slow to come. But hear me clearly today. What you called rejection was often my protection. What you thought was abandonment was my hand guiding you away from things that would have drained your peace, wounded your heart, and delayed your purpose even further. I know there were nights when you asked me why. Why did the relationship fall apart? Why did the opportunity disappear? Why did the plans you worked so hard for suddenly collapse in front of you? You searched for meaning in the pain, but all you could see was disappointment. And because you could not see my full plan, fear tried to convince you that your future had been ruined. But my beloved, your future was never ruined. It was being redirected. I saw things you could not see. I knew the hidden motives behind certain people. I knew the roads that looked beautiful at first but would have led you into confusion and sorrow later. I knew the burdens you would have carried if I had allowed certain doors to remain open. So when you cried because something ended, heaven was grieving with you, but heaven was also protecting you. You must understand this. Not every opportunity is an assignment from me. Not every open door leads to peace. Some doors lead to distraction. Some lead to exhaustion. Some lead away from the calling I placed on your life before you were even born. That is why I had to stop certain things. That is why I allowed some plans to fail. I was not punishing you. I was preserving you. Even now, you still carry questions in your heart. You still wonder why certain prayers were answered with silence. But one day you will look back and thank me for the doors that never opened. You will understand that if I had said yes too quickly, you would have settled for far less than what I had prepared. My child, I did not create you for temporary blessings that fade away. I created you for purpose. I created you for peace. I created you for a future that carries my hand upon it. And because I love you deeply, I will never allow you to remain in places that cannot sustain the destiny I have written over your life. So stop blaming yourself for every ending. Stop believing that every delay means failure. Some endings were divine interruptions. Some delays were heaven buying time while I arranged something greater ahead of you. And what is coming next will make you realize that the waiting season was never empty at all. My child, there were battles happening around you that you never fully saw, while you were mourning what was lost. I was standing between you and dangers that would have broken your spirit. You only saw the closed door, but I saw what was waiting behind it. You only felt the disappointment, but I felt the sorrow that would have come later if I had allowed you to walk through. There were people who smiled in front of you while carrying intentions that were not pure. There were opportunities that looked promising on the surface but carried confusion, pressure, and emptiness beneath them. There were paths that seemed right in the moment but would have slowly pulled you away from the peace I wanted for your life. And because I love you, I could not allow everything you desired to remain. You thought I was ignoring your prayers when certain things fell apart. But my beloved, I was answering your prayers in ways you did not yet understand. Sometimes my protection feels like loss before it feels like mercy. Sometimes the door must close before you realize the fire behind it. I know how deeply some endings hurt you. I know there were moments when you replayed conversations in your mind, wondering what you could have done differently. You blamed yourself for things that were never your burden to carry. You questioned your worth because something did not work out the way you hoped. But hear me clearly. Not every ending happened because you failed. Some endings happened because I saw the full picture while you could only see one small part of the story. The enemy wanted you trapped in places that looked comfortable but would have slowly drained your joy, your confidence, and your faith. He wanted you distracted by temporary things so you would never step into the greater purpose waiting ahead of you. But I would not let darkness decide your future. Even now, there are things I have shielded you from that you may never fully understand on this side of heaven. There are storms I calmed before they ever reached you. There are wounds I prevented before they ever touched your heart. My hand has been over your life more than you realize. So do not measure my faithfulness by what left your life. Measure it by the fact that I am still carrying you forward. Type, God's timing is perfect if you still trust that I am leading you, even when you cannot yet see the full path ahead. My child, I know this season has felt lonely for you. There were days when the silence around you felt heavier than words. You looked around and wondered why so many things had changed. People became distant. Certain connections faded. Places that once felt familiar suddenly no longer felt the same. And deep inside you questioned whether you had done something wrong. But hear me carefully. Not every separation was meant to hurt you. Some separations were necessary to prepare you for where I am leading you next. There were voices around you that kept filling your heart with fear, doubt, and confusion. There were environments that slowly drained your peace without you even realizing it. There were relationships that kept you tied to old versions of yourself that I was calling you to leave behind. And because I love you too much to leave you trapped in places that limit your growth, I allowed certain distances to happen. I know the silence frightened you at times. I know there were nights when you wished someone would understand the battles inside your heart. You smiled in front of others while secretly carrying exhaustion deep within your spirit. You kept showing up. You kept trying to stay strong. But inside you were asking me, Lord, where are you? Why does this season feel so empty? My beloved, it felt empty because I was clearing space. I was removing noise so you could finally hear my voice clearly. I was separating you from distractions that kept pulling your focus away from me. I was teaching your heart not to depend on temporary things for peace, because the season ahead of you will require deeper faith, stronger discernment, and closer intimacy with me than ever before. You thought you were being abandoned, but you were actually being prepared. Even in the quiet, I was near. Even when no one checked on you the way you hoped, I was watching over you. Even when you cried alone in the darkness, I was collecting every tear. Not one moment of your pain has gone unnoticed by me. And my child, there is something powerful I need you to understand. The loneliness did not come to destroy you. It came to transform you. It came to break your dependence on people who could not carry the weight of your calling. It came to teach you how to stand firm even when external comfort disappeared. You are stronger now than you were before this season began. You pray differently now. You see differently now. You discern differently now. The pain changed you, but it did not ruin you. I have been shaping your spirit in hidden places where no one else could see the work I was doing inside you. So do not despise this season anymore. One day you will realize that the isolation was not punishment. It was preparation for the new doors, new people, and new purpose I am about to bring into your life. And what I am preparing for you now will require a version of you that could only be formed in the silence. My child, even though you cannot fully see it yet, the shift has already begun. Things are moving in the unseen places of your life. While you have been worrying, waiting, and wondering if anything will ever change, I have been arranging details behind the scenes with perfect care. Even now, I am aligning people who will help carry you into your next season. Even now, I am removing obstacles that once stood in your way. Even now, I am opening doors you thought would remain closed forever. You may look at your current situation and think, nothing is happening. You may feel frustrated because the breakthrough has not appeared in the way you expected. But my beloved, do not mistake silence for inactivity. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean heaven is standing still. I have been preparing opportunities before you even knew to ask for them. I have been touching hearts, shifting circumstances, and creating paths where there once seemed to be none. What feels delayed to you is often my careful timing protecting the fullness of what is about to arrive. If I moved too quickly, you would not yet be ready to carry what I have prepared. If I opened certain doors too soon, the weight of them would overwhelm you instead of bless you. That is why I have been working slowly in some areas of your life. Not because I wanted to frustrate you, but because I wanted to establish something lasting. My child, I need you to stop measuring your progress only by what your eyes can see. Some of the greatest miracles begin quietly. Seeds grow beneath the soil long before anyone sees life breaking through the ground. And in the same way, I have been growing something powerful beneath the surface of your life. The change is already happening inside you. Your faith is becoming stronger. Your discernment is becoming sharper. Your dependence on me is becoming deeper. You are no longer the same person you were when this waiting season first began. The very things that once shattered your peace no longer have the same power over you. You are learning to trust me even when the answers are incomplete. And that kind of faith opens doors fear could never unlock. So do not lose heart now. Do not give up just because the process feels longer than you expected. The enemy wants you discouraged right before the breakthrough begins to appear. He wants you to walk away in the middle of the transformation. But my child, stay close to me a little longer. Keep praying, keep trusting, keep walking forward even if the steps feel small. Because soon, what I have been preparing in secret will become visible in your life. Soon the confusion will begin to make sense. Soon the closed doors of the past will no longer hurt the way they once did. And soon you will understand why I refuse to let you settle for less than the future I had already chosen for you. My child, if you are going to walk into the new season I have prepared for you, there are things you must be willing to leave behind. I know some of these things have become familiar to you. Some have comforted you in moments of weakness. Some have been part of your life for so long that you cannot imagine moving forward without them. But hear me clearly today. Not everything connected to your past can follow you into your future. There are fears you still carry that were never meant to remain in your heart this long. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear that something good will be taken away the moment you begin to hope again. These fears have quietly shaped your decisions, your relationships, and even the way you pray. But my beloved, I am not calling you into a new season only for you to walk through it chained to old anxieties. You must release them into my hands. There is also bitterness you have been holding deep inside, pain from disappointments, wounds from people who spoke against you, abandoned you, or failed to love you the way you deserved. I know those scars are real. I know the hurt was deep. But if you continue carrying yesterday's pain, it will slowly poison the peace I am trying to build inside you today. Forgiveness does not mean what happened was acceptable. It means you trust me enough to stop carrying the weight of revenge, anger, and sorrow by yourself. My child, there are habits that have kept your spirit exhausted. There are thoughts that have repeated in your mind for so long that you began to believe they were true. Thoughts telling you that you are behind, that you are unworthy, that your best days are already gone. But those thoughts do not come from me. My voice does not speak hopelessness over your life. I am calling you higher now. You cannot step into healing while constantly returning to the same darkness that wounded you. You cannot hear my direction clearly if your heart is still attached to things I asked you to release. Some relationships, some patterns, and some old versions of yourself must stay behind in this season. And I know letting go is not always easy. Sometimes you hold on because the familiar feels safer than the unknown. But trust me, my child, if I am removing something from your life, it is not to leave you empty. It is to make room for something better. Do not cling to what I have already outgrown for you. The future I prepared cannot fully enter your hands until you loosen your grip on the past. So let go of the fear. Let go of the bitterness. Let go of the voices that keep pulling you backward. Because the person you are becoming cannot live chained to the person you used to be. My child, one of the greatest things I have been doing in this season is changing the person you are becoming. This journey was never only about opening doors around you. It was also about transforming what is happening within you. Because the blessings I have prepared require a stronger heart, a wiser spirit, and a deeper trust in me. You asked me to change your life, but before I could fully change your circumstances, I needed to heal parts of you that were still carrying fear, insecurity, and hidden wounds. I needed to teach you how to stand firm without depending on the approval of people. I needed to show you that your identity is not built on success, attention, or the opinions of others. Your identity is built on who I say you are. And my beloved, you are not forgotten. You are not weak because you struggled. You are not broken because you cried. You are not behind because the journey took longer than you expected. In fact, the very battles you thought would destroy you have been shaping a strength inside you that could not have been formed any other way. I am healing the parts of your heart that learned to expect disappointment. I am rebuilding the confidence that pain tried to steal from you. I am restoring the hope you slowly buried after too many setbacks. Even now, I am teaching you to see yourself through my eyes instead of through the lens of fear and failure. You have changed more than you realize. There was a time when every obstacle would have caused you to give up completely. But now you keep moving forward even while carrying uncertainty. There was a time when rejection would have shattered your confidence for months. But now you are learning that closed doors do not define your worth. There was a time when fear controlled your decisions. But now your spirit is beginning to rise above the voices that once kept you trapped. That is my work inside you. And I need you to understand something important. The process has not been easy because greatness is not built in comfort. Deep faith is not formed during easy seasons. Strong roots grow in hidden places. And the version of you that is emerging from this season will be able to carry responsibilities, blessings, and opportunities that the old version of you could not sustain. So stop looking at yourself only through the pain of your past. Look at how far you have already come. Look at the strength that survived what once nearly broke you. Look at the wisdom you gained through the waiting. Because, my child, you are not simply recovering from the old season. You are becoming someone entirely new. My child, the doors that are about to open before you are not ordinary doors. They are doors I have been preparing long before you realized they existed. While you were focused on what you lost, I was already building what would replace it. While you were grieving over what ended, I was arranging what would finally bring peace to your spirit. There are opportunities coming that will feel different from the things you chased before. They will not carry the same confusion, pressure, or constant fear. What comes from me brings clarity. What comes from me brings peace, even when it stretches your faith. I am leading you toward people who will recognize the value I placed inside you instead of constantly making you question your worth. I am leading you toward places where your gifts can grow instead of being ignored. I am leading you toward moments that will remind you why the waiting season had to happen the way it did. My beloved, there are blessings ahead of you that your current mind still struggles to imagine. There is restoration coming to areas of your life where you stopped expecting anything good to happen. There are dreams you quietly buried because disappointment convinced you they were impossible. But I have not forgotten the prayers you prayed years ago. I have not ignored the hopes you carried deep inside your heart. Even now, I am breathing life back into things you thought were gone forever. The path ahead will not be perfect, but it will be guided. You will not walk it alone. I will place the right voices around you at the right time. I will open the right doors at the right moment. I will give you wisdom when decisions feel difficult, and peace when uncertainty tries to rise again. And my child, one day very soon, you will notice something changing inside you. The fear that once controlled you will begin losing its power. The confusion that clouded your thoughts will slowly give way to clarity. The heaviness you carried for so long will begin lifting from your spirit. What once felt impossible will no longer seem unreachable because you will finally understand that I was never working against you. I was working for you the entire time. Do not grow weary now. Do not return to old mindsets just because the breakthrough has not fully appeared yet. Some miracles arrive suddenly after long seasons of hidden preparation. Some doors open in a single moment after years of silent growth beneath the surface. And when the door I chose for you finally opens, no fear, no delay, and no opposition will be able to close it. Type Amen if you believe God is preparing something greater for your life than anything you left behind. But hear me carefully, my child. Because before you fully step into these blessings, there is something you must guard your heart against in this next season. My child, before you fully step into the blessings I have prepared for you, there is something I need you to understand. Every new season will come with new distractions. Every breakthrough will be followed by moments where fear tries to return and convince you that nothing has truly changed. That is why you must guard your heart carefully in this next chapter of your life. The enemy knows he cannot stop what I have already spoken over you, but he will try to distract you from it. He will try to fill your mind with doubt right when your prayers are closest to being answered. He will remind you of past failures so you become afraid to move forward. He will whisper lies that say you are still the same person you used to be. But my beloved, do not believe those voices. You are not the person you were when this journey began. You are stronger now, wiser now, closer to me now. That is why the enemy fights so hard against your peace. He sees the growth that you sometimes fail to notice in yourself. He sees the doors beginning to move. He sees the healing taking place deep inside your heart. And he fears the person you are becoming through my power. So I am asking you to stay alert in this season. Protect your peace. Protect your focus. Do not return to habits that once drained your spirit. Do not reopen doors I already closed for your protection. Do not allow temporary emotions to pull you away from the future I have been preparing. There will be moments when impatience tries to rise inside you again. Moments when you will want immediate answers. Moments when you will be tempted to force things to happen because waiting feels uncomfortable. But trust me, my child, do not rush ahead of my timing. The blessings I give are not meant to bring chaos into your life. They are meant to establish peace, stability, and purpose. I also need you to be careful about the voices you allow near your spirit. Not everyone will understand what I am doing in your life. Some people will speak from fear because they cannot see what I see. Some will project their own doubts onto your future. Some will try to pull you back into old thinking because your growth makes them uncomfortable. Do not let their words take root in your heart. Stay close to me instead. Let my voice become louder than your fear. Let my promises become stronger than your memories. Because what I am building in your life now is too important to be destroyed by doubt, distraction, or impatience. And my child, if you continue walking with me through this season, you are about to reach a turning point that will change far more than your circumstances. It will change the way you see yourself forever. My child, you are standing closer to your turning point than you realize. I know there were moments when you believed nothing would ever change. The waiting felt too long. The pain felt too heavy. The uncertainty made you question whether your prayers were truly being heard. But through every difficult season, I was leading you toward this moment. This is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of a new chapter. Everything you walked through has been shaping you for what comes next. The tears were not wasted. The delays were not meaningless. Even the battles you never understood were being used to strengthen your spirit and redirect your path toward something greater than you imagined. One day you will look back and realize that every closed door led you here. You will realize that the heartbreak taught you discernment. The waiting taught you patience. The loneliness taught you how to hear my voice. And the struggle taught you that your strength does not come from the world. It comes from me. My beloved, I never abandoned you. Even during the seasons when you felt forgotten, I was with you in every silent prayer. I was with you in every sleepless night. I was with you when nobody else understood the weight you carried inside your heart. And even when you doubted yourself, I never doubted the purpose I placed over your life. You are chosen. You are guided. You are deeply loved. Do not let the scars of the past convince you that your future must look the same as your old seasons. You are not trapped in yesterday's pain. You are moving toward healing, clarity, and restoration. The person who once cried over closed doors is becoming someone who trusts me even without immediate answers. That is transformation. And because of that transformation, you are now prepared to carry blessings that once would have overwhelmed you. The old version of you would have settled for less out of fear. But now your spirit is growing stronger. Now your faith is deeper. Now you are learning to wait without losing hope. I need you to hold on to this truth today. What is ahead of you is greater than what is behind you. Greater peace, greater wisdom, greater purpose, greater joy. The enemy tried to convince you that your best days were already gone, but he lied to you. Your story is not ending in disappointment. I am still writing it, and the chapter ahead will carry evidence of my faithfulness in ways you cannot yet fully imagine. So lift your head again, my child. Stop speaking defeat over your future. Stop believing that your delays mean denial. Heaven has not forgotten your name. I have been leading you step by step through every season, and I will continue leading you now, because this is the turning point where fear begins to lose its power and faith begins to rise stronger than ever before. And my beloved, before this message ends, there is one final thing I need you to remember deep within your heart. My child, as this message comes to an end, I need you to remember something that fear has tried very hard to make you forget. Your life is not falling apart. It is being redirected by my hand. Every closed door, every painful delay, every season of confusion was leading you toward the future I already prepared long ago. You may not understand every detail today. There may still be questions in your heart that remain unanswered. But do not let temporary uncertainty make you doubt my eternal faithfulness. I have never stopped watching over you. I have never stopped guiding you. Even during the moments when you felt lost, I was still carrying you through every storm. My beloved, the waiting season is not your final destination. The loneliness is not your identity. The pain is not your future. A new chapter is beginning to rise before you, and this chapter will not look like the seasons that nearly broke you. The heaviness you carried will not last forever. The confusion will not last forever. The doors that refuse to open will no longer matter once you see where I am truly leading you. Trust me a little longer. Walk with me a little further, because the very things you once cried over will one day make sense in the light of where I am taking you. One day you will wake up and realize that your strength grew in the waiting. Your wisdom grew in the silence. Your faith grew in the uncertainty. And the version of you standing in the future will thank me for every prayer I answered differently than you expected. So, stop speaking defeat over your life. Stop believing that you were forgotten. Stop looking at closed doors as proof that you are unworthy. The decision about your future was never made by fear, rejection, or disappointment. It was made by me. And what I have spoken over your life cannot be canceled by delays, mistakes, or the opinions of others. You are still chosen, still guided, still protected, still loved. And my child, the door I have prepared for you will open at the right time. No force of darkness will stop it. No past failure will block it. No rejection from yesterday will have power over the future I already placed before you. So breathe again, hope again, pray again, believe again, because heaven is still working on your behalf, even now. If this message spoke to your heart, type, "I trust your plan, Lord," in the comments below. And if you know someone who is struggling through a season of waiting and disappointment, share this message with them so they can be reminded that God has not forgotten them. Subscribe to the channel and stay connected for more daily messages of hope, encouragement, and faith. And remember this, my beloved, when the right door finally opens, you will understand why every other one had to close.